All right, welcome. We are kicking off a brand new series where we're going to break down the book Vibe Coding chapter by chapter. And today, we're jumping right into chapter 1 because it introduces this foundational idea that honestly changes everything about how you work with AI.
Okay, so this one quote really gets to the heart of it. It's this massive mental shift we're talking about today. We're so used to treating AI like a vending machine, right? You put in a very specific command, you get a very specific thing out. But what we're exploring here is moving towards something totally different, treating it like a partner, a collaborator in a dance.
But, before we get to that awesome new dance, we got to talk about why the old way just doesn't work. Why this command and control approach so often ends in frustration.
So the author actually calls his first approach militaristic. And it makes sense, right? He came from that old school programming world where you write these super precise, rigid instructions, and the machine just does exactly what you say, no questions asked. And that's great for traditional code, but with generative AI, well, it was like trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. It just wasn't working.
Okay, let's look at a perfect example of this. The author calls it his first botched symphony. He asked an AI to create a simple tutorial outline. And his first prompt? Oh man, it was a masterpiece of control. You can see it here. It's just packed with these super strict rules. Exactly 5 subtopics, maximum 15 words. He basically built a cage for the AI and expected it to sing.
And the result? Well, it was a disaster. The AI gave him this totally robotic, dry, and just lifeless outline. It technically followed the rules, but it completely missed the point. But then, look at the difference when he shifted to a vibe prompt. He gave the AI a role, a goal, a feeling. Suddenly, the output wasn't just good, it was compelling. It felt like they made it together. So how did he figure this out? How did he make that jump from rigid rules to a vibe? Well, the answer wasn't in some tech manual. It was literally right outside his window.
And this was the aha moment. He was watching a stream, and he noticed how it doesn't just smash through rocks, right? It flows around them. And it hit him. That's what he needed to do with the AI. He was trying to force it through obstacles with all his rules. But what if he just guided its natural flow? What if he worked with its nature instead of against it?
Let's see this idea in action with another great example. Super simple. Just writing the text for a save button. On one side, you've got the old way. A really technical prompt listing all the words to avoid, the exact tone, very prescriptive. But on the other side, a whole new approach. It's not about rules. It's about setting an emotional scene for the AI. It's about giving it a vibe.
And wow, look at the difference. The rigid technical prompt? It spit back technical jargon. Activation of this element ensures, who talks like that? But the vibe prompt? It delivered something with actual warmth, with humanity. Great job, your work is now safely saved. See, it captures the feeling behind the action, not just the function. That's the magic.
Okay, so this is all great, but you might be thinking, is vibe just some fuzzy, abstract idea? Well, no. The author actually turned this new mindset into a practical framework so you can get these kinds of results over and over again. He calls it the core vibe formula. Now, it's super important to know, this isn't like a math equation you have to solve. Think of it more like a mental checklist, a conceptual tool. It's a reminder of the 3 key ingredients you need to blend together to get that awesome flowing collaboration with your AI. So, let's break these 3 elements down, one by one. We'll start with the very heart of your project. First up, we have the project's soul. This is your why. It's not just what you're building, but the deep purpose behind it. What feeling are you trying to create? For example, the author talks about making bedtime stories with an AI. At first, the goal was just to entertain. The stories were okay. But when he changed the project's soul to create safety and comfort, the AI's output totally transformed. The stories became tender, soothing, they had heart. Okay, next is your intuition. This is your unique human spark. It's that gut feeling, that creative leap that only a person can have. Check out this prompt the author used. Instead of something technical, he wrote this incredibly poetic and evocative line. He even thought it was maybe too weird, too out there. But guess what? The AI totally got it, and it generated this amazing, atmospheric description that pure logic just never could have.
And number 3 is the model's character. This is so important. It just means you have to know your partner. You have to understand what your specific AI is good at and what it's not.
The author learned this the hard way. He asked a really creative AI to generate some boring structured code, and the AI kept trying to add creative flair. It was breaking everything. The solution wasn't to yell at it with more rules. It was to realize, oh, this isn't the right job for this partner. He adapted the task to its strengths.
All right, so theory is one thing, but let's put this into practice. Let's walk through a case study and see how this formula actually works from start to finish. So let's pretend we're building a new meditation app. First step, Project Soul. What's the why? We decide it's a gentle sanctuary. Okay. Second step, your intuition. What's your gut feeling? Let's say minimalist, warm, and poetic. Got it. And third, the model's character. We know our AI is amazing with creative language, but it's pretty terrible at generating actual UI code. Now you take all three of those things and you weave them into your prompt. See? It's not a list of commands anymore. It's this rich, context-aware request. You're giving the AI the whole picture, the soul, your intuition, and what you actually need it to do. You're setting it up to be a real partner.
And what happens when the first draft isn't quite right? This is key. You don't pile on more rules. No. You guide it back to the vibe. You have a conversation. You might say something like, let's condense this, and maybe try for something even softer. You're always bringing it back to that shared feeling you established at the start.
Okay, so we've seen the old way that fails, the aha moment that changes everything, and a practical way to apply it. Let's wrap this up and hit the key takeaways.
So if you take anything away from this chapter, it's this. Stop commanding and start a conversation. Always remember that stream flowing around the rocks. Don't force, guide. Use that core vibe formula. Project Soul plus your intuition plus the model's character. Once you start doing this, I promise you'll stop seeing the AI as just a tool and start seeing it for what it can be, a genuine creative partner.
And that's our deep dive into Chapter 1. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Once you stop forcing things and start flowing, once you really find the vibe for your next project, what amazing things are you going to create?